Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Glossy Philosophy. My name is Jansen Binman. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel and give this video a thumbs up because today we are doing a very sweet and simple Valentine's Day look. This look is great for a Galentine's get together or a coffee date, anything that you have during the day when you are celebrating friends, family, and loved ones, so stay tuned. I've already washed my face and done my skincare, so let's get started with the tutorial. First, we have to neutralize the face, so anywhere where you have any kind of discoloration or something that you don't want peeking through the makeup, now is the time to do that. It's much harder to do that after you start, although sometimes you still need to go in with another layer, and that is totally fine. But it's good, just like when you're painting, to have a good base. Now I always like to start with my fingers, and then if I feel like maybe my fingers got too gunky, then I'm going to go in with a brush, a really fluffy one, because remember we're working in the eye area and we just want to make sure that everything is really nice and blended. So now I'm going to go in with my corrector and get any discoloration that's happening underneath the eyes. Just tap that in again with my ring finger, making sure that your fingers are clean. So I just washed my hands before I started putting on makeup, so everything stays nice and sanitary, especially when you're working with your own products and you're dipping in every single day. You just want to think about those things. How can you keep your products clean and sanitary? And you can always wipe them down if you feel like you need to. Now I'm going to tightline my eyes because I want a really nice thick looking lash line. So I'm going to take my Satin Kajal liner, lightly lift up my lid, and get that inner waterline. So the face has been prepped really well, and now I'm going to decide if I'm going to amp up my eyes, then I'm going to wait on concealer. If I'm going to go for my lips, then I'm going to do my lips first. This one I am doing minimal eyeshadow, but I am working with powders today instead of creams. So I am going to go in with the lips first because the lips are the star of the show because it's almost Valentine's Day. And then I'm going to go in with my eyeshadow. I'm going to combine Love of My Life with Je ne sais quoi. I think it's going to match really nicely with the heart that I'm wearing today. First I'm going to put on Love of My Life, which is a really lovely pink. And then I'm going to add a little bit of an orangey coral, but because it's a luxuriously Lucent formula, it's not going to overwhelm my lips. It's just picking up the orange that's already in the heart, and I didn't want to go super red because we went really red for holiday time, and the red that I'm wearing on here isn't super saturated. It's almost a desaturated red, and I thought that played really nicely with mixing those two colors. So now we're going to jump into the eyes. I'm going to take my Sonia Kashuk tapered crease brush, and first I'm actually going to go in with my regular powder because we are working with these medium toned neutrals. I just want to make sure that they have something to grip onto. If you feel like when you go in with your powder shadows, they're streaking, they're not working, it's either your primer or you're not giving them something to grip on. So you need to put down either a translucent powder or something that's really similar to the skin, which is usually why we go in with Kid first, but I just want a general wash of Cork all over my lids. So now I'm going to take the side of my brush and dip it into Cork, and I'm going to put that on my lid, starting as always on the outside and working my way in, and then I'll bring anything extra up into the socket and into the crease. So make sure you have a really fluffy brush for this, because you want something really nice and soft and dispersed. But see how smoothly that glides on because we put on that translucent powder. Sometimes these medium browns just don't play well by themselves. They need a friend. And just really lightly buffing that out. I don't want to go too heavy because I do want the lips to be the star of the show. And I kind of like that there's already a little bit of lightness just on this inner corner fading out, but I'm going to go in one more time, just really lightly, and really emphasize the outer part of that lid. Now I'm going to leave my eyes alone because if I do my liner right now and then I go in with foundation, I could disrupt what I've already done. So I'm going to start with a little bit of concealer, and I'm going to put instead of putting the wand directly on my face, I'm just kind of rolling it on my ring finger. I'm going to separate the two, and just like with my corrector, I'm going to tap that in, and then I'll go in with a brush to give a really nice finish. I feel like if you do this, you're just putting less product on the skin, which is great because we want to work in really thin layers. And then it's easier if you feel like you need to go back in. So I'm going to transition to my 108 brush, which is technically a powder brush, but I like that it's a little bit fluffier than the 110. It's almost like the Duo Fiber meets the 57. It also fits really nicely under my eye because of the teardrop shape. And see, that just helps to blend it out. It's a synthetic brush, so it doesn't matter if it's for powder or cream, so you can use it for either. And then we can decide if we need a little extra. Before I decide that, I'm going to put on my foundation. And I'm actually going to put it on with my fingers. I've been getting some questions about whether you can put your foundation on with fingers, and you absolutely can. The thing you have to be aware of is if you mattify the face too much before you put on your foundation, that's going to pull on that foundation. It's going to make it really hard. So that's why I usually recommend a brush, because it's just easier not knowing your personal skincare routine. However, if you kind of oil up your skin, or you have a really nice hydrating moisturizer, then you can absolutely go in with your fingers and just put it on like you would a lotion. Again, starting anywhere where there's a little bit of discoloration. So for me, that's through the center of my face. You might feel like it's not as nice of a finish, so always go in with a brush after, and you can always just tap it into. Bobbi Brown is a huge fan of tapping. So just to give a really nice finish, I'm going to go in with my 55, and I'm going to blend out anything or tap out anything that needs a little extra love. Now we are ready to powder, do our brows, and kind of finish up the look. Before I powder, I'm just going to leave my face alone a moment and just kind of let it breathe, and also see if I need any extra coverage. Now I'm going to go in and just fill in my brows. So I'm going to brush down the hair and see where there are any gaps happening, and just go in the same direction as the brow hair is growing. So you can see that this looks like a healthier, fuller brow. This one looks a little bit sparse. And now we are ready to do the liner, and then I'll powder at the end. So I'm actually going to go back in with my Kajal liner. I've really been loving this lately. I think it's a really fun look to do a kind of a smudgy soft liner, and then do my little kitten wing or full-on wing with a liquid liner for longevity. So I'm just massaging this in, or doing little dots right along the lash line. And I'm going with black instead of brown, even though this is a daytime look, just because it's Valentine's Day and you might have to transition your daytime look into a nighttime look, into a smokier eye, take down the lip, or amp up the lip. If that might be happening, it's nice to have the black on first so you're not like redoing everything at night. And I also think if you smudge this out, it's really, really lovely. It's just not quite so graphic. So you can either take your finger, or you can take a Q-tip. You can take the little sponge that's on the end, whatever you feel comfortable with. I find when I do my finger that it gets a super, super smudgy look, which I love sometimes, and sometimes I want that hint of a line a little bit more. I just want that crispness. And because the Kajal liner is very, very soft, it's not going to last if I do a wing. It will dry down a little bit, but not as much. If I'm looking for longevity, you just can't beat a liquid liner. So I'm following my lower lash line, basically pretending like I'm drawing in an extra lash out there. And I don't want this to take over, but I like that it gives the eye a little bit of a lift. It gives this whole upper area a little bit of a lift, especially when you're doing a bolder lip. Everything can get kind of pulled down, so it's nice to have kind of those competing things where you're lifting and you also have that boldness. You don't have to go crazy with your wings. You don't have to do anything bananas. It's just a nice look. You can go back in, if you feel like this has gotten too graphic, you can go back in with your kajal and just soften that up a little bit, kind of connect the two together. And that will not affect the longevity of the liquid liner underneath because it's already dried. As I'm assessing my face, I feel like I need something a little bit more in my crease, so I'm going to go in with the same color, but I'm going to use the 217. So back into Cork, just on the tip of my 217, and I'm going to define my crease just a little bit more so that, again, it's just supporting that wing and also supporting a lifted look. I'm not adding in any extra colors. This is basically a one shadow eye look. And then that just feels a little bit more lifted to me. Before I do powder, I want to do some kind of a cream blush. I just want to keep this really nice and sweet and just fun for daytime. So going in with something like the Pixie is a great option. I'm just really lightly doing long ovals and then just kind of brushing my finger away, but it just gives a hint of something. And because we are using a translucent powder, this is not going to go away, but you don't want to do swiping motions when you're working with your powder. You want to make sure that you are just tapping. So right now I'm using my big brush because I don't want to disturb what I just did, but I want to give it a little bit more longevity. And underneath the eyes, I'm just going to morph my brush into a smaller one just to take away a little bit of the shine, and then go in with my bronzer brush into my Airbrush bronzer, which is huge and definitely gives me Tom Ford vibes, but this one personally I think is better because it's matte and the Tom Ford one has a lot of glow, and I do not like a glowy bronzer. I can always make my cheeks glow with the blush or with a highlighter, but I don't want my bronzer, especially if I'm doing kind of a contour bronze, I don't want that area to be glittery or shiny. But we can talk about that in a summer video. So now I can finish up the look with my mascara. I'll go in with my 3D Maximizer and my Smoky Lash. So that is the tutorial. Thank you guys so much for watching this really sweet and simple Valentine's Day makeup look. I do fashion videos every Wednesday, beauty videos every Friday. Next week I'm doing a really fun makeup tutorial from Misty Copeland's book Talk, and I'm going to do something inspired by her Firebird stage of life. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye!